Hi, everybody. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see you. Hope that your weekend is, well, it's not off to a great start, but I hope it's been going well. And for those of you that are watching at the end, this is a really powerful reading today because we have a blue moon, second full moon in the month. I felt the intensity of it, and I'm glad that we have a special topic today that's going to allow us to go wherever we need to go. Because it never wins, but I really feel like we do need to focus on like the heart chakra, healing, releasing, because I felt it and I'm sure you did. And even if you didn't, I feel like there's things beneath the surface that we need to focus on today, just like the moon card. Let's start off with some channeled messages first, and then we'll get some updates and other things here in just a moment here. So for those of you that are new, I like to begin with messages directly from source. And then we'll look at the cards right after this. So as I was getting ready today, as I was walking Apollo, what came through in my mind's eye for starting this discussion today was it's time to air things out. And what Spirit showed me was a clothesline with like sheets and clothing hanging there. And it feels like for many of us, there might be some things that we have just kind of like pushed to the sideline thinking, I'll deal with this at another time. And eventually, you have to sort things out. So when I think of like airing things out, to me, this is having important conversations, which has been a pivotal part of the daily readings for the past few days. In fact, I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, just the importance of, and I think even today, but like making sure that your communication is effective, understood. And if you do need to say something, whether it's establishing a boundary or clearing the air because you're upset about something, this is the right time to begin that process. I think right here in the throes of the full moon, you could really focus instead on how do I feel? Why do I feel this way? What do I want to say? And then maybe tomorrow kick off that conversation. But it is about healing and getting things out. Because if you don't, they boil and come up to the surface, and what could have just been a difficult conversation becomes an argument. And there is a difference, because when it's an argument, you're not any longer constructive. It's like pointing fingers. So that's the first thing that came through. The other thing that I saw in my mind's eye was just like the fog lifting. And for some of you, this could be the end of like vacillating or going back and forth on a decision. The end point, the opportunity, the next step seems a lot clearer. I think, again, this full moon is bringing up things that once processed, once released, allow you to be clearer and more grounded. And then the final thing here, Spirit was kind of showing me a redo or a do-over or a retake, whatever you want to call it, but like going back and doing a test again. Karmically, there might be something that's happening in your life where you can't change the past, and it may not even be with the person that you wish you could change something with. It's almost like a new version of that. And you're like, okay, well, this time around, I'm going to handle things a little differently. I'm going to keep my cool, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to prepare, because that was the other piece here. If it's a test and you're studying for like taking it again, don't think in your mind, well, I didn't pass it before. It's this time I'm going to knock it out of the park. And you will, because your energy is different, you're different, and you're more prepared, mind, body, and spirit. But do the prep work for sure. And once you've done the homework, you can show up feeling like you just, it's like almost like it's part of your energy. It's part of your new system. So take the time today for integration, reflection, and release. And it may be any or all of those in tandem. Okay? Good to see you. Great to see you, actually. And a quick note before we get into the next portion of this reading. Sorry, it's not a monthly reading. It's a weekly reading. This will be the last time I'm filming here. I'm going to be staying at a hotel, probably a few hotels over the next 6 weeks. And then if all goes well, I'm just waiting on one final stamped document. Whenever that comes through, then I will probably be leaving. And I'll still be here, of course, on YouTube. But I'm going to probably be in another country in a month and a half or 2 months' time. So more to come on that once it's approved and once I have a final date, and I'll keep you guys posted on the process. But yeah, after all that went on in my place, I'm finally like, yeah, I did all the work last year. Let's just do it. So I'll keep you posted. Let's get into the 7-day forecast first. this is going to help us navigate all of the twists, turns, and opportunities in the week ahead. So let's get started. Take a moment, please. And if you haven't already, let's tune in a little bit. So close your eyes and let's imagine that the sun is shining directly overhead. We'll welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters and feel that connection to source. I need to pull this out just a little bit. And by the way, this is one of the reasons that, so like today I'm breaking down everything that you see here and putting stuff in my car. This is why the monthlies have been off for the past couple of months, because I had to basically take all of my belongings that were destroyed by mold, get rid of those, plan a new place to go. I'm doing paperwork. So for those of you that are wondering what's going on, it's a major sort of shift. So just be patient with me. I'll be doing all of the monthly ones this week, probably shorter, kind of like I did with the first two. And I might be uploading them in a slightly lower resolution because I don't know what the Wi-Fi is going to be like. So thanks for being patient as I go through some unexpected twists and turns. Okay, let's look at the week ahead. We'll start off with the energy for today. We have the Princess of Discs, or the Page of Discs here. So this is interesting. As I'm looking at this, I'm actually looking at the path, and it almost feels like one of those paths that you have to create on your own. So for many of you, there's something that you want in your life, but there's no clear way to make it happen. Kind of like what I was just talking about. So just so that there's no questions in chat, if all goes well, I'll be moving to Spain. And everything's done, but there's one, you have to get a bunch of apostille documents, so I'm just waiting for one of those to come back. Everything's otherwise signed, sealed, and delivered. But I did a lot of work last year. It takes months to get things organized. And unless someone's done something like that, you don't get it. But if it's whether you're applying for school, trying to get a job, trying to get a visa, trying to make something happen, the doorway exists, but you might have to build the path to the door. And that's kind of the analogy that this is showing me here, is that you're building a path. It's there, and Spirit's saying, oh yeah, you want to do that? Okay, create the bridge, create the path, create the structure. We'll help you all along the way, but it won't be easy. So if there's something that you want to build, you begin the process today. It could take a day, a week, a month, or a year between now and this coming to fruition. It is worth it. And the thing is, the reason that there's these steps sometimes is we're not ready. So sometimes we need time to make peace with things, right? So just plant the seed today. And it's a perfect thing to do, by the way, on a full moon. I have to double check, but I believe this is one of the full moons. First of all, it's a blue moon, so 2 in a month. But this is one that's a little further distant. So that's why it might even feel like, gosh, I got to keep reaching for this. I got to keep reaching. That will be rewarded. Don't lose track of your goal, and today plant the seed of intention. Page of Pentacles, talk about what it is that you want, need, desire, create boundaries, as we talked about in the daily reading, and otherwise, stay grounded today. Typically, I'm naturally empathic and tuned in, but I don't always feel emotions. But for whatever reason, probably because I'm packing everything. But yesterday I felt the need to cry a little bit, and I let it out, and I'm like, okay, that was interesting, and it's good. You might have to process something today. You could find yourself laughing, crying, wanting to scream. Full moons do that. They bubble things up to the surface, and this is a chance for you to basically just see something for what it is and let it go. Don't hold it back. Once I went through it, then I laughed a little bit. I'm like, why am I? And it's just, that's how emotions are. It's a weird human construct, but we have to get it out. If you don't get it out, it finds another way. And we want to make sure that you have a constructive way. Talk to a friend, do some physical activity like exercise or something of that nature. Anything that you can do to kind of get it out. And then I see someone talking about gardening today. Perfect thing. If you can actually touch the earth, hiking, walking, gardening, that is kind of ideal. That's exactly what you should be focusing on. Okay? All right. So now let's move into Monday. Another page. I'm sorry. This was, yeah, they're all pages. I hate that they rename these princes and princesses. So princesses are pages. So this is where you want to communicate more. So today you're grounding yourself, you're planting seeds of intention, you're getting the information, you're doing the homework. And then on Monday, that's when you can execute on that planned vision or dream. And she has these little butterflies fluttering around her. She may be deciding to change something up. And so this is when you share your insights and you can speak it into existence. One of the options that didn't make it, I think, was something titled cocoon. So this is like coming out of the cocoon, breaking free, and just saying, it's like tearing the Band-Aid off. This is what I want. This is how I feel. A great day to put things into writing. So journaling, getting a signature on a contract for those of you in business. If you're trying to get a decision, great day for that. And we see her with that scroll there as well. Make sure you're reading the fine print. And if you have any questions, ask. Otherwise, we love the Page of Swords. It's showing that things are, first of all, more effective in communication, but it also shows action. And I like that. Okay, let's take a look at Tuesday. And we can see this is a beautiful Nine of Swords. This is sometimes how we feel when we're in the throes of stress. We start to make something bigger than it is. And it eats away at our mind. We can see those little mealworms and whatnot kind of eating away. This is why on Sunday and on Monday, it's important to ground yourself and talk it through so that by the time this happens, you're like, no, you know what? It's okay. This is just a recurring thought. It's a recurring fear. I don't need to give it any more energy than I am. Pay close attention to your sleep and rest schedule. You are no good to yourself or anyone else if you're working, like nonstop into the wee hours of the morning. If you have insomnia, that's a completely different thing. That usually requires a little bit of help outside of what you can do. Whatever it is, though, that might be affecting sleep quality and quantity, this is a day to address it. Things that can or may help you include exercise, reducing caffeine, limiting access to all of your devices before bed, sleeping in a dark room without the television on or without a television full stop, and making sure that 1 to 2 hours before you go to sleep that you're starting to wind down. So not looking at the news, not eating, obviously, not watching anything that gets you worked up. So it's really just sort of like gently easing yourself into the fact that it's time for bed. You could listen to music or a podcast, but it should be relaxing. Anything that you can do to alleviate this. Great day to talk to a counselor, therapist, or friend. Okay, things pick up. I'm not that worried about it. Nine of Swords is a very manageable card. It's normally just stress. And what we see here is it might be stress about stepping into this next step. Because as we get into the middle of the week, one of the beautiful illustrations here of this 10 of Wands here, but it's moving up and moving on, and it's no longer the burden that it once was. Typically in this card, someone's hunched over carrying all 10 wands, but on this one we have a scarab beetle pushing the obstacle to the side, and we see the person almost like a flying machine or Vimana rising up. So the last step is often the hardest, but what comes after that is exciting, and the universe is also encouraging you in this moment to activate, spread your wings. This is a day for travel, for clicking send if there's something that you want to send out into the world, for taking it to the finish line. This is the day for completion. It's worth the extra work on this day, and you can get there. That's basically what this is showing. You may have to do some traveling to make something happen. The only thing that I would say today is if you feel stress, pressure, the energy of being burdened, then delegate, ask for help. You don't have to do everything. That's what I'm looking at that scarab, and it's kind of pushing things to the side. So you can do that in your own life as well, okay? As we take a look here at Thursday, we have the Three of Wands, but it's in the reverse position. So some of you might be waking up to the understanding that, oh, I didn't think of that. There's an easier or better way, and it might like be right in front of your nose, but you're so focused on something else that you can't see it. Three of Wands typically carries with it the energy of here and now. And if we look way in the distance, let me see if I can get that focus. So there are the ships way out there, but that person isn't looking at the ships. They're looking somewhere else. the birds that are around him could be delivering messages, but they could also be squawking and getting his attention. They could be the thoughts in his head. Well, maybe this won't work. What if that doesn't? Fears, anxieties, etc. Meanwhile, those ships are ready to sail. So look in a different direction. That's why the card is reversed. Did I miss something? Is there something around me? Is there something else? Am I too limiting in my thoughts? I just recently talked about the Eight of Swords, which can be a prison of thought. Fears can be the things that create the bars around us. So the Three of Wands is saying, not only can this happen, but it probably is happening if it's a goal or a dream, or it's not a matter of if, but when, and the when is saying it could happen now. This is kind of what I realized when I was like, well, I have another option. I could do this. How close am I? Okay, it could happen soon. So sometimes when we just open ourselves up to something, it's there and it can happen faster. So see if there's not a more expedient. We're not talking about taking an unnecessary shortcut, rather. We're just looking at a different path. So this one might be the long road, but there might be a more less traditional path where it's like, oh, you could also try this if you're willing to compromise or look at something different in the equation, okay? Normally, though, with Three of Wands, we see things just like this. 2 great days to get things done, but you might have to be a little bit more open, flexible, or imaginative on Thursday. Okay, as we take a look at Friday, it looks fantastic. So we have the World card. Things are coming to fruition. And this is a day where you're really needing and wanting, hopefully, to expand and think expansively. And so what I mean by that is all of this or greater. Imagine that you could achieve your goals or something beyond. This is a day to travel. If you need to travel, it's even better than the Ten of Wands. If you need to announce something, this is probably the ultimate card for that. If you need to publish, distribute, announce, or somehow put something out into the world at large, this card is saying, today is a great day. So absolutely, really, really beautiful energy on Friday. And yes, you might also have something coming into you, or you might be reading an announcement as well. So no matter how you slice it, I quite like the energy of Friday. You can get a lot done. And whatever you might have been dealing with, particularly here or here, it feels like it's resolved by week's end, okay? So now let's take a look at Saturday. On Saturday, we have the Queen of Swords. She's in the reverse position. She gets to the point. If there's something that needs to be said or done, she's not mincing words. She's not wasting time. She could benefit from reading the room, however. So how does this relate to you? Check in with someone before initiating a conversation, and literally can just be, are you free? Is this a good time? And that's it. And then when you do have a chance to engage with someone, just say, what's going on? How are you doing? And if they're like, I'm fine, how are you? Just say, no, really, how's today going? Follow up on something you've talked about before. Break the ice, legitimately show interest, and then you can get into it. And they say, well, I'm glad I have your ear right now. I just wanted to ask about this, this, and this, and are we good for that? And that's it. But it's nice to have a little bit of niceties. We don't have to just go in and say, have you finished with this? Can I count on you for that? Like sometimes it's like, hi. Have you ever had someone say that to you, or you've just wanted to say that? I know when I used to have a corporate job and would get those emails, calls, or drop-bys, sometimes it wasn't worth it because it's a little passive-aggressive to say that, but it's what you want to say. It's like, hello, breathe, yes, here you go. How are you? Everything good? All right, you're welcome. So the Queen of Swords sometimes can be too transactional when reversed. You want to avoid that, and just don't take it personally if someone else says that. Sometimes people are very busy and they want to save your time and their time and just think, okay, it's not me. I can't have a thin skin on this. So just say, here you go. Just cut the interaction short. They don't care. You don't have to care either. So that's the other way of dealing with it. If they're transactional, be transactional. Here you go. Any other questions? Okay, good. I got work to do. So you can be just as curt. You can meet their energy on that and not take it personally. But you can also build a relationship if you want to, but people aren't always interested. I remember that sometimes when I worked with certain work types, they just wanted things. And I was like, okay, have a good day. You can still be nice. You don't have to be condescending, but you don't have to waste time. The reason I wouldn't take it personally, look at all of, this one has even more butterflies. that person might have so many things on their head and on their plate. It's just like, I need to get this. It's not about you. Okay. If you need to fight for something, this is a great day to do it. In this situation, you may have to stand your ground. You may have to interrupt someone that's trying to get away with something. When I was dealing with safety issues, which was why I moved out of my old apartment and into this temporary space, I had to hold my ground and say, no, this is actually a health code violation, or this is unsafe, or we can't do this. You need to do this. And they're like, okay. I said, great, get back to me once you've figured that out. So I would hold my ground on that. You can do that kind of Queen of Swords energy where you have to cut through someone trying to push you or put a bunch of baloney in front of you, and you could just say that's not correct because of this, this, and this. This is why we're doing our homework today, so that by the time Saturday comes around, you can completely lean on facts and figures. That can also represent a lawyer, so always work with a lawyer in situations like that. Okay, a week from today, next Sunday. Now we have the Nine of Wands, and some of you might be springing back or bouncing back. We can see this person doing just that, finding their will to make it to the finish line again. And there might be something where it's like, this isn't going to get to me. I'm going to take a moment, take a beat, take a deep breath, and then I'm going to get back to this. When Nine of Wands comes through, sometimes you might be dealing with, it's more mental stress. But it can manifest sometimes as a migraine or persistent thought, or you're like, this person's driving me crazy because I can't stop. Like whatever they said or did, it's on rerun, a replay. So take a break and then come back to it, and you're going to be better. Whether it's half a day or a couple hours or whatever, by the end of the day, you should be able to push through. And I feel pretty good about the energy of this week overall. So highlights and challenges. We'll start with the challenges first. I think Tuesday is the most difficult, followed by probably next Sunday. This is stress. This is just you not giving up because you realize you've come so far. Highlights on the week. There's a lot of them, actually. The best one, because it's the ultimate card in the major arcana, is Friday. But that being said, it's almost like every other day. I love today, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every other day provides something good. And it's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday where you might be challenged a little bit. And then even a little bit here, but like, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, yeah, it's 4 out of, it's a pretty even match, actually. So you're going to have a few days where you just have to push, and then other days where it kind of comes naturally. Okay, so can't complain. We could, but we won't. We're going to take a quick look at the elements. I'm going to stick with the same deck because I love these illustrations, and it's been a minute since I've read with it. Okay, so fire, earth, air, and water, especially useful now since I'm running a little bit behind on the signs. Again, they'll come up this week once I get into the hotel. All right, let's shuffle the cards. So crazy that we got reversals for those, but we had a pretty even mix before, and it's okay. Reversals show us where we need to focus. So this is a fascinating death card. So elemental here, we're looking at fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Transformation, folks, change. But for some of you, there's stagnation on this. You can see why and what you need to do, but accepting it, embracing it, taking action upon it, that's where the challenge is. So it feels like the decision's in front of you, and the understanding of what to do has been decided on a soul level. Ask someone for some support if you need to. Remember that death is also rebirth. And this Russian doll sort of metaphor here is quite cool. As you pare away these different levels and layers and things, you get more to what matters. And moving is actually a great reminder of that, because you have to get rid of stuff and you realize that, let's see if I can get him in frame. What really matters is your health, your happiness, and oftentimes the people that you love or the things that you love. And Apollo's definitely among those. So you want to be safe. You want to take care of yourself. You want to focus on what matters and let go of the other stuff. There's something that constitutes baggage or that mental fog that I kind of picked up on. So if you have a disappointment, or if you have to release something, or if you have to step away from something, not only shall this pass, this too shall pass, but there's something better waiting, and it requires this moment of release. So a great example of this in culture is ghosts, right? Or our ghosts. They're afraid to go from the physical realm into the spiritual realm or the energetic realm. So they just stick around, but it isn't growth, it isn't movement, it's clinging. And the minute that they release, they can ascend and continue the journey. So when something or someone or whatever has come to pass, it has come to pass. It's harder when it's a person in your life, like a relationship ending or the loss of a loved one, or the loss of a job, because it stings. But it won't sting the same degree forever, and there will be other things that come through that help you enjoy life. So you never stop grieving, and you never completely release the space that once embodied the thing that you love, but there's more, like the path continues. So that becomes a space that was special, and it's always going to be there, but open yourself up for something new. If you're feeling stuck at work, in a relationship, or in doing something, it might be time to try it different. It's something different, especially if a pattern's repeating. So take a look at the cycles in your life and say, what if I tried something completely different? What if I stepped outside of my comfort zone? What if I look within and see if there's something else, okay? So release, change, transformation, and the understanding that when things fall away, you're still there. You're still standing. And that is something. You're stronger than you realize. You've got this Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Lean into the change. And I will look at it at some point today coming out of the cocoon, because for the fire signs, that's really important. I said it's whatever needs to come through. That's one of the things that needs to come through. So remind me when I get to that portion, if we meet the bonus part, which I think we will. All right, let's go to earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I love this. So we have the Eight of Cups, one of the most beautiful illustrations of it, because we see that stairway to Jupiter. And so I was mentioning how for many of you, there's something on the horizon that you need or want or desire, but the pathway is something you have to build. It's worth it, particularly for the earth signs, because Jupiter is one of the most favorable planetary influences. It's expansion. And it's bigger than you think. So I really would love to nudge you towards that goal or that dream or that vision. You may be overdue for a break. The Eight of Cups in reverse can show someone that needs to step away to get the big picture. There's too much going on. You're too in the weeds or too in the throes of something. And in order to see the big picture, you have to step back or step away. Second chances could avail themselves to you this week. As I mentioned in the channeled messages, you're ready. You've done the homework. You can prep a little bit more, but you wouldn't be given this second chance if you didn't deserve it. Think about that. And then don't psych yourself out of it. Psych yourself into it. Okay? What if you pass? What if it's beyond your wildest dreams? Because if I could caption that, the Eight of Cups is illustrated here, it's beyond your wildest dreams. Second chances, taking a break, getting perspective. The only thing that could be challenging in your life is, I'm thinking of the intermittent setting on a windshield wiper or windscreen wiper. So sometimes those blades, there's a setting where it can be constant, or it's like every few seconds. And sometimes you don't know when it's going to happen. In your life, there may be someone that comes through intermittently, or there might be work or resources that seem to be tapering a bit. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're cold. So you need to diversify in these situations, not put all of your eggs in one basket, whether it's a job, a relationship, or something of that nature. There needs to be something more. You deserve more than the intermittent energy, okay? Let's move on to air signs, but I'm going to take a drink first. Of course, air is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Okay, you've got this. You might be asked to go into boss mode this week, management mode. I love that we can see a multi-dimensional goddess here. Those different arms represent her being in different places at the same time, reaching for something in the future, the present, looking at something that's old business, wrapping it up. So you might be having to coexist in multiple timelines. You might literally have a lot of things that you're juggling, and it's important to prioritize and to delegate. You can't and shouldn't do it all. The reversal of this card is reminding you to keep an open mind, just like the Three of Wands that was reversed. Things can happen quicker, faster, easier, but you may be too close-minded on the way that you're thinking about them. Once you ask yourself, what if, why not? Then you start to really access new portals of opportunity. So that is my biggest piece of advice for people that might be dealing with rebuilding their self-esteem or having persistent thoughts of fears or doubts. You can turn them upside down and say, well, what if it works? Why shouldn't it work? Why can't it? How can I make it work? When am I going to do this? You start to get into the energy of possibility rather than things not working, okay? You may also want to step back and empower people. There could be some codependencies. So when the Two of Cups is reversed or any of the Suit of Wands is reversed, like in the court cards, you might be doing too much for someone else, and now you're giving them the tools and saying, you've got this. Why don't you give it a shot? I trust you. And it might be hard for you to do that, but it's also going to open you up, free you up so that you're not feeling so overwhelmed, okay? So all of that coming through. The other thing here is just don't doubt your energy, your power, your insights. Kindle the flame and don't waste it on people, places, and things that aren't reciprocating it, okay? Good week for air signs. Finally, water, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We have a reversed Hierophant. Okay, so in the upright position, the Hierophant is structure and also gatekeeping. And we see a papal figure here, the loyal disciples, the two keys, but he's the one that tells you. He's the one that's holding the keys. When it's reversed, it's a rejection to old structures. There may be a different or better way to get something done than to go through that old person, place, or sort of like bureaucracy, because it can be a bureaucracy, a governmental bureaucracy, a school or educational institution that has all of these sort of like levels of approval. You can cut through it. The Queen of Swords, as we were looking at, coming through on the weekend, can probably cut through it. So I've mentioned this before. Sometimes that's working with an administrative assistant. Sometimes it's working with someone who's adjacent in the field. If that person isn't accessible, how about this person? Maybe they're younger, maybe they're more open-minded, maybe they just aren't as overextended as this person. There's a better path that doesn't require so many levels of approval. If there's something that you truly want and you're willing and ready to wait, it's fine, but you're just going to have to work through the process. Sometimes when it comes to approvals, like stamps and things like that, there's just a predetermined amount of time. So if you can circumvent it, do it. But if there's something that's just rigid, then do whatever else you can in the interim to make the best use of the time. Now, I like to also see the Hierophant reversed as rebellious. So you may be thinking to yourself, I don't see what I want in the world. This is for the engineers. This is for the artists. This is for the writers. Anybody that has to take something and make it up from scratch. You're saying, I don't like the existing solutions. I want to invent. I want to imagine. I want to go beyond. By the way, some of this came through also for the air signs because we had Queen of Wands, which is imaginative. Either way, there's a better way that you can possibly do on your own, but you're building and you're creating that path from point A to point B. So if you're willing to do the work, I think it's worth it. More than one way with the two keys at the center. You may also be at a point where you need to get some assistance, whether it's for a small thing like moving, or if you're in a company and you're doing all the work, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need people to fill out the roles. So this is a great time to hire, to expand, to delegate, and to work smarter. Okay? But overall, we like the Hierophant. It is organized. It's also highly spiritual. So there's more than one way to connect to source, and that's what that's reminding you. Okay, we're moving along at a decent pace here. So now we're going to take a look at special topic. So today it's whatever needs to come through. And I want to think about how to organize this. I really want to look at healing because that's what I felt yesterday. And I know that we never pick it. And I feel like you empowered me to make a choice. So the first thing that I'd like to look at is that. And we may still look at the expanded forecast, health, wealth, love, and destiny, but I want to look at some things that are coming through first. So rather than do a full Celtic, I'll do the expanded because I know people hate it when I don't. But before we do that, I'd like to look at some healing. So let me go ahead and take another drink. Put Apollo on the screen for a second while I'm doing that. I'd like to select a different deck of cards too. All right, so let's take a moment here, and we're going to look at the heart, but not love. We're going to look. I mean, we can, but not like that. It's not about your person. I want to focus on wounds that need to be healed. I don't know why this never gets chosen. It's important. It's important. So thank you for empowering me. Today we're going to look at the heart first. We might look at some other things, but I want to start with the heart. Show me an old wound that needs to be healed. All right, so with the King of Cups and the Judgment card, for some of you, this can be familial. King of Cups typically is masculine, but if there's two women or two men, this would be because it's King of Cups, it's interesting because it isn't always like the traditional divine masculine that you would think of. There's a lot more sensitivity here, but you may have been feeling maybe that's you in this equation too, and the sensitivity was rejected by a partner, by a parent, by a peer. I'm kind of getting more of that energy. Your sensitivity wasn't seen as being strong enough, or it was misinterpreted. And maybe some of you are more sensitive than people think, and they just kind of walked on you. So what I'm seeing here with the Judgment card in reverse is an understanding that sensitivity is an asset because it gives you the ability to feel, see, and know things. It is your intuition that was coming through, and it is your ability. It's also like the divine lingua franca, like love is how you communicate with spirit. It's how you become a medium. You receive it through the heart, not just the third eye, not just the crown. You're feeling the energy of spirit through the heart. So that's why mediums will often, you'll pick up on the physical pain, or you'll taste it, you'll smell it, you'll feel it. But the heart is it's kind of like the key. So what I would love for you to do in this moment is, for those of you that were rejected, hurt, or judged, because of your sensitivity, and maybe you closed off the heart space, don't. Instead, find a place where you feel safe. The safety could just be with yourself in meditation. It could be with a friend, a teacher. It could be out in nature. Wherever you feel that sense of safety, I'd love for you to work on knowing that it's okay to open that, because in ancient Egypt, that was the seat of knowledge. They weren't wrong. This is how you connect to higher realms, in addition to your third eye and your crown chakra. But the heart helps you stay. It just kind of helps you understand what you're seeing, and it's a very important piece to mediumship, and it's an important piece to being a human. So you deserve to be happy. I had a conversation with a friend, and I want to relay this too. It is not the purpose of living on this planet to experience pain. We experience pain to grow, but you deserve happiness, joy, and ease in your life. And we see some of that domestic ease in this card. If it didn't happen in the past, it can and it will in the future, so open yourself up to receive. Three of Pentacles in the middle. Some of you hid in the energy of work or obligation or just keeping yourself busy. And it works for a while, but eventually you get tired, either physically or mentally or both. And so the real work, and that's why we're looking at this today, and that's why you empowered me to go where I need to. The real work goes on forgiving yourself, loving yourself, supporting yourself, and saying no to people in your life that won't give you that level of support. That's where the work is. It's not your job. It's not school. It's not your extracurriculars or your volunteer work. It's here with you today. And the Judgment card in reverse is also releasing the ghosts of the past. It's not accidental that I was talking about ghosts and being stuck. And so this is particularly for the element that got that, the elements, I should say, that got that. So the Judgment card in reverse. So many things that I want to say with this. You can't change who you are. You can't change who someone else is. And you can't make yourself or someone else feel something that isn't there. It just is. And the judgment that's placed on us for things that are out of our control it's so silly when you get into spirit, when you're out of your body. So there are people that judge you for things that you can't control, like who you love, who you don't love, what you want to do with your life, and more importantly, just even certain things like, I can't believe we're still judging people based on gender expression, how much melanin they have, things of that nature. I'm like, literally, that has nothing to do with the equation. But we face prejudice, bias, judgment, and all of these things that on a soul level doesn't matter. It may look material, but it's immaterial. It's just the physical. It's just the 3D to teach us things. So some of you had a lot that you had to deal with family, with prejudice, with bias, with a lack of support. It has made you amazingly strong. But sometimes it's like, I just want it to get easier. So Spirit's coming through and saying, it's okay. You can want that. Let's look at what you can do to create better ease in your life, right? And then I'll see if there's anything that we can do to heal the old relationships. But first thing, it's the most important relationship is the one with self. So what can you do to create better ease and to clear the judgment? So Knight of Swords in reverse. Don't think so harshly about yourself. Don't think could have, would have, should have, and try to change the past. Instead, think to yourself, I need to start speaking up and creating change and making movement. Small acts of self-love and of validation. It's not just words, it is acts. That's what I was getting when I saw this. So demonstrating it and showing it to yourself. But also, when you speak of yourself, do so in a high and kind way. And one of it can be putting it into the ing form. I'm working on this. You don't have to claim it yet. So you can say, I'm working on healing, my relationship with money or food or self-acceptance or whatever it is. I'm working on it. Working's good. I mentioned this is where you're doing the work. You don't have to say, it's stronger than false confidence. I'm an expert in this when you're not. It's better than self-efficacy. Oh, silly me. I never have luck with this. Stop both of those extremes. Say, I'm making progress. I'm working. I'm learning. I'm expanding. I'm finally understanding this. That's a far more fascinating conversation to be listening to in your own mind and also around you. And it shows that you're not stuck, okay? If there's a person or people in your life that didn't accept whatever it was that you were putting out there, what can we do there? So it isn't your job necessarily to educate everyone. So with the Knight of Wands here, it's saying continue to lead by example. And eventually, when people see success, stability, passion, integrity, they don't have anything to, if they still are complaining about that, then they're never going to be made happy. So it's just saying the best revenge is success and just taking care of yourself. There is no revenge, in other words. But just live your best life and show them why they're wrong. When someone says, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not this enough, just say, it's an opinion, and they're a dime a dozen. So that's really like a weird phrase, isn't it? Because like if 10 times 12 does not equal to, anyway, it's very common to have an opinion. So you're just going to say, that's your opinion, that's not mine, and you can live your own path and show them that you've got what it takes, okay? You don't have to get the approval. You don't have to win the argument. You win at life. You win because you're happy and you're showing up every day, and you're showing them by showing up, okay? Demonstrate. They may learn, but you're not the teacher. You don't have to educate them. This is so important when people are, we can try, but if they're closed-minded or it's a dead-end conversation, you don't have to educate them on everything, okay? It will save some time and energy. Okay, that was good. A little different than our normal approach on that, but there were some important messages that came through. Okay, so let me take another drink here and I'll see what else I want to talk about and what Spirit's bringing through. And I might use an oracle card for the next one, so hold on. Okay. Still looking at the heart. Let me see if there's another message that wants to come through here. Feel free, by the way, in chat while I'm doing this in the live stream, to bring up anything that you might want me to look at as well. Okay, so how to get out of cycles. I think of the movie, which, gosh, did that come out in like the late 90s or it was late 90s, I think, Groundhog Day. So because it's an oldie now and not everybody watches old movies, Groundhog Day was about someone that was stuck in a cycle and he was doomed to repeat it every day until he stopped trying to control it and started to just do what was right. And he was leading with his heart in the movie. It felt like a curse, but eventually he got beyond his sort of like hang-ups. So it's a fun movie. It doesn't hold up perfectly over time, but one nice message with it is you can get out of the cycle, but it requires knowing what you can control, what you can't, and then just kind of what I just talked about. He started having fun and just doing what he needed to do, rather than sort of self-destructive tendencies. So out of the movie into life. What is it where you might be experiencing some cycles that we don't need to see or have anymore? So show me the cycle. Show me how to break the cycle. Okay, so let's just pull them all in the upright position. So the Knight of Swords in the reverse position can be overly critical about himself. And we talked about the importance of not just focusing on can't, won't, never, and instead, thinking of I can, I will, I am, focusing more on, and also the ing of it all, making sure that you're working, creating, understanding, expanding. It doesn't have to be now. The whole reason we came to the planet was to learn. And so anybody who thinks they're an expert and pontificates all the time probably needs to learn some more. So you're still learning, so am I, so are we all. The Emperor card here is kind of interesting because with it in the reverse position, learning to be kinder to yourself, learning to understand that sometimes things repeat until you see the sort of patterns so that you can take control. So you are the architect. In this moment in time, if you don't like the pattern, change the pattern. It's kind of like... like an architect for designing something. An old structure may not fit you. Maybe if we use like an old paradigm, you're expected to go to college, but you want to do a different path, or you want to go to college and you're not expected to do it. You have to follow the path that works for you because one size does not fit all. And your passion is what's going to make you happy, successful, and make everything work. So I think it's important to really give yourself the time, the energy, and the support to do what you need to do, okay? There may be people in your life that are trying to push you to fit into their mold. Well, this worked for me. It should be good enough for you. Why don't you like this? And again, that's not fair and that's not necessarily accurate for you. So it's really about making sure that you're doing it because you want to do it. Motives, really look at why am I doing this? Is it to fulfill the expectations of my family, my teacher, my friend, my spouse, or something that I decided 18 years ago or something like that because now it doesn't fit anymore? As we grow, like from a little kid to an adult, and even as we grow from an adult, like our sizes will change. We're not going to fit in the same shirt for 100 years on the planet. So why would you fit in the same job, relationship, or like even sometimes even things as core as religion? You're going to grow as you go. So allow yourself to shed the chrysalis. In our lifetimes, we can shed multiple chrysalis or cocoons because we keep changing. I certainly know, like particularly over the last 4 years, I feel like I've had multiple rebirths, but definitely over the past couple of decades, I think back to stuff that was happening in 2000. I'm like, I don't know who that person was. 2010, 2020, like those 3 decades in particular, I'm like, those people were very, very different versions of me. And even if we go further back, I'm like, yes, it continues. So we are allowed at least every 10 years to completely change our mind. And what is it? Every 7 to however many years, the skin cells completely change. So physically, we're regenerating. Why wouldn't we also intellectually be shifting? So the mold is broken. It's okay for the mold to be broken because otherwise you're stuck and it's boring. And now is a time to really lean into something new. Okay, and that leads us into the next thing, which is, what is awaiting you? What's kind of opening up on the horizon? Separate from the heart now. Now let's just see what opportunities might be knocking here. Okay, so High Priestess, 4 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. 4 of Cups is really interesting because it is walking back on the imaginative energy of the High Priestess. She sees so many possibilities. This card is limiting things a little bit, though. It's expecting it to show up in a certain way, shape, or form, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be that rigid, folks. So give yourself the space, the time, the opportunity to receive something beyond what you expected. All of this or greater. I love that she has a little baby here. So one of the things that could be coming through is, for some of you, if you've been sitting on something for a while, this is the chance for it to finally happen. A door is opening, rebirth, reimagining, reforging energy here with that little baby. The 10 of Pentacles here, you might be manifesting, by the way, better stability, rebounding energy when it comes to love, support, and possibly even relationship energy where it can go the distance. But you're not being shown everything right now. You have the idea, the present, it isn't here. And sometimes when we don't see it, we miss it. Normally the 4th cup is hovering like an ace. So it's there, it's around you, but it may not be in the form that you think. We have a little Cancerian sort of crab there too. So there could be an incoming energy from a Cancer in your life. But this is also just about you being able to see beyond the obvious. Your dream is still attainable. It's still something that you can get. Okay? Okay. What's something that you're missing in your life right now? The obvious, Captain Obvious. So let's take a look at, speaking of the 4 of Cups, what's something that you should be looking at, but you're missing? Okay, so the 7 of Cups in the reverse position shows me that one of the things that the reason you're missing something, and we'll get to what you're missing in a moment, is lack of focus, overextension of your energy and resources, and thinking through something too much. So I feel like it is like the answer is right there on the tip of your nose, but there's too much going on and you're just sort of like, you're not making time to be still. This can represent your cell phone, your computer, people knocking at the door, television, the newspaper, podcasts, traffic. It's like that ridiculous commercial from like the 80s and 90s with Calgon. Calgon, take me away. And it showed all of these like distractions. In real life, it's more than just that. It's like it's everywhere. So if there's something that you need to find your safe place to sort of like meditate and get out of that energy. Let me go ahead and pull a clarifying card to see what it is that you're missing beyond this, because I just want to check it. Hold on a second. Here, we'll stick with this. Okay, so the ant spirit is interesting. Time to collaborate. So to get something done, to accomplish something, the person that can kind of bring the missing piece to you could be right around you. There might be someone that wants to help, and you could be resisting the teamwork because, especially for those of you that had like the boss cards reversed, I'm the best one. I'm the only one to do all of this. The reason that colonies and hives like ants and bees thrive is because it's a community effort. So to get something done, you don't have to do it and probably shouldn't do it all on your own. Even if it seems like it's cheaper or more expedient, it's going to cost more in different ways. Creativity. The Queen of Cups comes through to remind us that we are more creative than we think. So there's a solution that, again, it may just be a winding road for some of you. So don't be afraid to go down that path. There's something creative that it feels like you've been suppressing some of the creativity or the emotions here. The Page of Wands is also about building out a prototype. So stay focused, work within a team to get better understanding. For some of you, there's a creative part of you that like hasn't been expressed or understood, but now's the time to do it. And the Page of Wands is saying, I could actually like take a look and see what's out there and get inspired. When was the last time you gave yourself a chance to read a book, watch a movie, or like go to the museum or go to the library? Do something where you're exposing yourself to new forms of or new ways of doing things, new expressions, right? It's important to walk away from this because what's around you feels like it's just the same old, same old. You need to focus on one thing. You need to focus on something that really connects to your passion, that allows you to be creative, and surround yourself with one or two people that are on the same page as you. Okay? So you should be focusing on reducing clutter, teamwork, and creativity. So put into the chat some of the things that you might be dealing with. What I might do for a moment, just so that we don't get impatient, you wonder where it's at, we're going to expand it because I might actually touch upon some things that we need to focus. And in this expanded forecast, I will take a look at how we can heal and work with some of these things. So we're going to start off with health, mind, body, and spirit, but we're going to go in a different way looking at health, past, present, future, not just a single card. So show me what's going on with your health right now. So show me karmically what you've been dealing with, healing. Show me what you're presently doing about that. And show me what the future holds. Okay. So there's 2 Three of Swords in this deck. This is the favorable Three of Swords. They're learning from the difficult experience. It doesn't sting as much as it did the last time. So if it's kind of like applying for a job, and after the 100th rejection, you're like, but what you can ask yourself is there a reason that I'm being rejected 100 times on this path? Is there a different way that I can go about it? It's so frustrating, by the way, for job seekers right now. I empathize quite a bit. I think it sucks at how there's actually almost like no human beings. You can immediately get rejected based on AI or an algorithm and how it scans your resume. And for people that are like, say, try harder, I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that because the system's broken. The only thing that you might be able to do if you're entrepreneurial, and this is a privileged opportunity, but if you have the time, energy, or resources, you could do it yourself. But that is a very small percentage. Maybe you know someone and that can help you get through it. But if not, it might also be about like, well, what other fields may be more open and not experiencing the same wall? Because there are some jobs where that doesn't exist. And even though I'm looking at health, it's coming through as a wealth component because your money and what you do and how much you have does affect your health. So you may look at fields that are more traditional and have more of a pent up demand. So things like plumbing, electrician, like being a plumber or electrician, things like that will always be in demand. And I don't think when you apply that there's an AI person rejecting you. You usually would work with a smaller shop, have a human connection. So you might have to look at other fields where it's like, where can I actually connect with people or do something? And if you're in an industry where they've dehumanized it and it's happening, find if there is a place, you want to find the place where they have not outsourced HR. Because that is a big, like that's going to be indicative of how frustrating it will be to manage things. An example, and this was a long time ago, God, this would have been back in 2009 or so. No, it was even before that. It was like 2006. I worked at a company that had almost like Zendesk, a ticketing system for HR. So when I quit, I had to put in a help desk ticket to say, this is my resignation. And then I had someone that called from another country that said, is this correct? Like I had nobody in the office that was around me off board me. It was like from another country, from a ticket. And then I just like left things with some random person that was another temp. Like, this is a terrible experience. That was a long time ago. We've only kind of continued to veer on that. But that was one of the reasons I wanted out of that company, is because it was already being run by tickets. And I thought, that's not going to be enough for me to grow. I can't put in a ticket that I want to talk about what's going on with this or that. I didn't have like a manager. It was bizarre. But I was unhappy, and that was an example of it, even then, several decades ago. So you find places where you're taken seriously, you're treated like a human. It's not about trying to thwart that system. Really look and say, do I want to be a part of that? Onto the traditional Three of Swords. Breakups, disappointment, health issues. So breakups and disappointment. Sometimes we have to know what we don't want. We have to have the... I'm looking at people that are talking about their nightmare stories. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm so sorry that the world is like that. I'm just empathizing that I know that it's not an easy fix for everybody. Okay, breakups and disappointments. Sometimes we need to know what we don't want to just step away from it and say, okay, I'm ready for this. I've been through so much that I'm absolutely ready to take a leap of faith and try something new, right? Your heart matters. So sadness, anger, depression can actually also affect blood pressure, sleep quality, all these things that kind of affect cardiovascular health. Mental and physical health can't be divorced. So if you're going through a mental health or emotional challenge, get the support that you need. It's a sign of strength, and you will get through this. Do your research when it comes to any matter of your health, but particularly things like blood sugar, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health. But I like that we see learning and ascending with this. It's just a lesson, and you'll get through it. Knight of Pentacles in the reverse position. So knights take a step back when they're reversed. And I was mentioning things about work, and I know we're in health, but it's coming up here. So for some of you, you're like, I need to spend my time and energy differently. It could be a relationship, could be an activity, could be a job. The investment isn't worth the sort of pay or return on that energetic investment. Be mindful of how much you're working, how much you're eating, how much you're sleeping. This is a consumption card when it's reversed. It's too much or too little, and we need to find balance. And I'm not a doctor. I'm just looking at the energy. So assess how much you're putting in or expending. There could be better balance there. A focus on people. Six of Cups, he's a little nostalgic. I love this. The Six of Cups is in his mind. But it's also about wanting that again. So what matters to me in life is quality of living at this point. It's not necessarily where you work, where you live, who you know. It's how do you feel, and the people that are around you, do you feel like they're your chosen family, right? Some of you might be deciding to put more energy into your friends, your family, your children, the inner child, or new love and relationships. The new priority, the new currency is love. And if it means making adjustments in some of the other categories, it's going to be better in the long run. You're going to feel rich in experience, rich in life, rich in general, okay? So learning from the past, it's okay to be triggered. It's what you do with it. And then finding better balance in the expenditures of your time, energy, and money, even though we're looking at health, because something made you unhappy and you're asking yourself, why am I doing it if it makes me unhappy? So the emotions came through in health, but the source, which is what I try to help you get to, is like work and relationships and energy management. And then you prioritize, you think back, what made me happy when I was a kid? What would I rather be doing now? Who are my BFFs, my ride or die friends? How can I have more of that? Using the heart, using the connection between the heart and the head to change this and to learn from this and to manifest this. Okay? Let's move on. We already got a bit of this, but let's look deeper. What else is going on in your wealth? Okay, so in the deep past, and it really doesn't matter the way that this one was particularly illustrated, but we have the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands typically is much more of a people-oriented card, and again, we're looking at wealth. And it's almost like health and wealth have been flipped in today's reading, so be it. So for our wealth card, we have the Four of Wands in the reverse position. And in the deep past, maybe you underestimated the importance of who you spend your time and energy with. And gosh, does this matter so much? Because the people can make everything manageable. So Four of Wands, you would typically see two people in the foreground. I'll pull the traditional card. And it represents partnership, friendship, love, BFF energy. And some of you maybe took an opportunity where you stepped into a situation and you're like, I don't love the people, but I like the title, or I like the money, or I like the opportunity. But now you realize I also need to like the people. I need to feel like I'm supported. And I saw someone that was mentioning having to like FedEx and their badge back, or I had to put in a ticket to get out of there. And then also at that same place, someone was like, WTF, but like the actual expression of that in the elevator, one of the people that I worked with. And I'm like, well, the fact that you're just now figuring out that this was my last day, that's one of the reasons. So I want to be valued. I don't need, it's not like an egocentric thing. It's like, I want to feel like I'm part of a family, community, or group effort. And now you understand this, I want to feel seen. This is like an iris. When you look at that center, whatever that is, spot. It reminds me of an eye. So you want to feel part of and also seen. Part of a larger whole, and then seen and appreciated. Yes, that can also include like getting a raise and getting accolades, but it can just simply be like, I see you, I care about you, how are you doing? So make sure that you're getting that in the things that you invest your time and energy into. Okay, the Judgment card is really telling when we're looking at wealth. For many of you, you know what you want, but you haven't accepted it yet. And you don't know how to say it or start it. And I think one of the things that you can do is talk to someone when that comes through. One thing that I love about Judgment, though, it's a double-edged card and sword, because you can fight injustice and rise above. So you have choices here. You can leave because you don't feel seen and supported and find something where you are, the Knight of Pentacles. Or you can change the system because you're a fighter and an alchemist and you're an advocate, and you're like, I'm tired of other people having to fight. I'm tired of fighting, but I'm not going to give up. And there's no wrong answer. We need both in the world. We need people to take care of themselves and move on. We need people to fight and change systems. And we can also fight from the outside and find other ways to help people through it, whatever. But the Judgment card is saying, this isn't enough. I'm either going to fight it or I'm going to move on and change. You don't have to stay in an old shell. And something that worked in the past won't always work. A great way to think about this in today's world is an algorithm. Something that once worked for an algorithm won't necessarily work tonight, tomorrow, or next week. So the same is true in your life. The algorithmic energy around you is always changing. So if you stand still, you're left in the dust. If you merge, change, allow yourself to kind of like expand a bit in that way, anything is possible. If you've faced rejection, reinvent yourself. Don't have harsh judgment about yourself or others either. This is not the end of the world, but this is maybe the end of something. Okay? Now, the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like this is helping you with these two. So if you haven't been seen or appreciated or supported, the Knight is finding a place where that is. This can also be you deciding to step into a position where you can do it for others, building something, creating something. So this can be someone that fights within the system. This is someone that builds a new system. Different ways of fighting, building or rebuilding or changing. We need them both. You may also just want to quit a job. You're like, Nicholas, make this make sense for me. You're done. You're done with something. You want to stop volunteering somewhere, quit a job, drop out. There's something about this that doesn't feel right. If you're a student, you might be able to change your major or transfer to a new place. If you're at a job, you might be able to fight and you might have like a case. Or you're just done and you give your resignation or your ticket or whatever and just say, but make sure you have your safety net. Make sure you've exhausted all options. But I see you exiting from this situation good, better, okay? Other things. In this period of time, teamwork makes the dream work. There may be something that you need to reject. I don't want this. And you will land on your feet. Fight for what's right. Advocate for your sort of like worth. Negotiate. Don't accept something that doesn't feel right. Rise above the sort of group think and pressure, particularly if there's a lot of bad people making bad decisions. Make a better decision. Rise up. You'll be rewarded in the long run for doing that. Okay, that was a lot to unpack, but there's a lot to see here. Is there something else that you need to understand in this moment regarding how you can... Actually, there's two things that I want to look at in wealth that we don't always do. Self-worth equals net worth. What's the self-worth challenge right now? So the self-worth challenge with the Sun card in reverse is looking to external inspiration. So when you realize actually at the end of the day that you are the source, because that's what the Sun represents, a star, the center of our little solar system, but it's self-contained. It's its own sort of engine. And your power, your potential, your capacity to do things, it's all contained within. You don't need mom, dad, teacher, society, lover, friend, brother, sister, whoever externally represents someone that you look up to validate you. You just have to validate you. And the big focus on this one is some of those core relationships that we hold in the solar plexus. That's why it's like teachers and parents in particular, because authority figures in general. But whoever the authority figure is, work on separating yourself from them and think, what do I want? Who am I? And then also just reiterate to yourself, I can do this. I am doing this. It is done. Okay? Now let's look at like how to access your net worth. We know that you're worth it. But there is a little bit of arrested development. The Sun card is a child. Usually it's a little baby on a horse. So 6 of Cups, the Sun, sometimes even the Empress in reverse can represent arrested development, something from youth that's stunted. So we're working on overcoming that and realizing that you're a grown adult now and that doesn't have to be that way now. Okay. Show me net worth, and then we'll do a bridge card. What's your net worth? Really good. I'll take the Page of Pentacles. And I love that we have a rainbow over this showing that things are about to turn a new corner, new page, new day. What can you do to access that rainbow? So, all right, rats are intelligent. It's an interesting choice on this one. I want to pull the traditional card because we keep getting 4 of Cups. But one thing with the 4 of Cups is sometimes you don't believe it. You don't believe that it's possible, or you can't imagine why you. And it is possible, and it's you because you're worth it. This 4 of Cups is looking at what's in front of them. Could have, would have, should have. Meanwhile, there's this possibility floating. The grass literally is green on this card, but you can imagine that they're thinking it's greener somewhere else. So it's saying do the best with what you've got, or reach for this bigger thought because you can get it. You have more than you see. You're worth more than you realize. There's more options in front of you than you might realize, including this. And someone else may be going through just as challenging a time and you don't realize it. Do, in this moment, negotiate. Do look for something that gives you at least the ability to feel supported and recognized and a part of something. Okay? Okay, I think we looked at most of that. So now let's go on to love and relationships, which I didn't touch until now, and we're going to look more at love and relationships. Okay. Show me what's going on. I'm going to break this down into multiple categories here, but we're going to look at one general first, okay? I know some of you are asking about what's going on with me leaving. Let's focus on the topic at hand. After I get through this, I'll talk more when we get through the reading. So stick around until the end and I'll talk more about me. I don't want to intermix it in the reading because it conflicts with what we're looking at. Okay, so focusing on overarching messages for all relationships in your life. The 5 of Swords is both fascinating and frustrating. The fascinating piece is there's a desire to talk to somebody because you care about them. But the person is having a hard time listening to you. It's either because they think they're right, and in their mind they think, I know I'm right, or they don't want to hear what you have to say because it challenges their worldview or their expectations of themselves, of the world, of you. Something about it just immediately fires them in a new direction, and they're not open to the feedback. So in all levels of relationship this particular week, it's really vital and important to pick and choose the moment to talk to someone well, and pick and choose your battles wisely, because not everyone is up to the conversation. And that's really just going to save you a lot of time. How can you recognize it? Because immediately they start spinning things. Or I was having a conversation with someone that disagreed with me so vehemently that before I had a chance to express myself, they were looking at ChatGPT and then they showed me all the reasons I shouldn't do something. And I'm like, I didn't ask for that, first of all, I thought. But what I said was just, well, thank you. And it's a disarming thing. And it wasn't condescending. I said, I appreciate that you love me enough to say something that's difficult and do it from a place of love, and I'll consider it. But I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I did know that, but thank you for that. And then if you say thank you and stuff, that they have nothing to argue with then. Just say, you're allowed to disagree, and I'm allowed to disagree with your disagreement, and I appreciate your facts, and you looked it up. How's the salad? So you can just divert it, because if you care about someone enough, and in this case I did, I'm like, it doesn't matter. They don't have to agree with me. This isn't a battle worth fighting. I like the person enough to disagree with them, and I can disagree with someone and still like them. We've lost decorum nowadays when it comes to that. If it's not an existential big issue, if it's just like you don't agree with the decision that I'm making, so be it. If you don't like me as a person or my life or whatever, that's bigger. But if it's just a small decision or small choice, whatever, we can all disagree. We do that on the regular. So pick and choose if you're going to fight or if you're going to let it go. You'll know when it's something worth fighting for, okay? There may also just be someone in your life that lacks accountability and they blame other people. They might also like to purposely get under your skin and start arguments. So if someone's inciting, pointing a finger, or gaslighting, no, stop. You could probably disconnect with them. If there's a single disagreement on a non-essential thing, or even an important thing, but you still know that they're probably going to come around in the long run, so be it. So I think that helps. It can help everybody. But the Five of Swords it's not the end of the world. It's in the middle of the suit. It's not even necessarily a strong card, but it can be a frustrating card, okay? And yes, it can be the inner saboteur, as someone mentioned in comments, for sure. Okay, so let me pull a single card. I mean, I feel like we did a really good job on that one. I don't know if I have to go in all the different levels, but I will on this one. Existing partnerships, is there something that you need to do or understand in this moment? Oh, nice. All right, so we have the Lovers. The Lovers is in the reverse position. This is affecting all the ones that I'm pulling here. So with the Lovers in the reverse position, you may either be in a place where you're giving a lot to your partner and to everyone and just feel exhausted. So don't be afraid to ask, or if offered, receive. And that's what the Lovers is very, very much representing. Sometimes you underestimate just how powerful and important you are. Please don't. You have a lot to bring to the equation. As I mentioned earlier, this would be one of the more important things to fight for. Let's say when it comes to who you date, love, or marry, if there is pushback from friends, family, etc., that's more a core part of you. And that's something where you just say, this shouldn't even be a conversation point. This is who I am. Love me or leave me. Like take it or leave it. Or just say a better way to do it is just to say when you've had time to understand that this is who I am, come back. The door is always open, but I'm not going to hold space right now for people that want to hurt me or judge me, particularly when it's something like that. Again, sometimes people just don't get it. They want you to be in a certain... It's conditional love when we want unconditional love, basically. So hold room for them to grow, but don't put too much space in your day-to-day life for people who can't be there. Gosh, I was watching a TikTok person the other day that does sort of like parodies, but I loved what he had to say. And I don't remember the exact, and it's okay, because I'll just kind of like give a Cliff's Notes, but... So empathy can sometimes open you up to, like when you empathize for someone, your boundaries can get kind of like pushed down sometimes. So don't let people overrun your boundaries just because you're empathetic. You can be understanding, kind, and connected and also have boundaries. So stay assertive, stay focused when it comes to that. I think that's going to be very useful. Kindness is your greatest asset, but people will take advantage of it if they can, so don't let them, okay? That's the crux of it. All right, now let's move on to, and by the way, the main thing here too, for those of you in a loving or partnership, could just be to make more time for each other, to hold an unconditional space for one another, and to open yourself up to receive. Okay, so that's for those that are partnered. Now let's look at single and looking. If you're single and looking, it can be a job. I think back to one of my acquaintances, friends from, I don't know, like 15 years ago. And I remember that they were looking to find a partner to get married. And this person went out on dates 2 or 3 times a week. It was a guy. And he was like, I really want to get married and I want to find my person. And he didn't see it as a job. He just was like, I'm creating a lot of time and space in my life for this because it's an important thing. I see myself in a loving relationship. I was like, you go. And a couple years later, that person found their person. So you get what you put into it, and that's what the Chariot is showing. I don't know anyone else in my life that treated it like a job and dates like an interview, but they're in a very happy, loving relationship, so it worked for them. So put in the work. That's one thing that I get with this, and you can find it. You could also find someone, because we're looking at single and looking, from a place, I'm not single and looking, I'm sorry. Yeah, single and looking, that's right. From a place of employment, extracurricular activity, or maybe even just a place of worship, even though this card isn't connected to that. But it's when you're doing something else, not explicitly looking for someone, that you bump into them. So volunteer work, or school. And people that are connected to those places might be a way for you to meet someone. You're also calling in the Chariot, which is someone that's super go, go, go. This is someone who likes to travel. This is someone who might own their own business. This is someone who doesn't want to rest on a vacation. They want to go and hike and do this and do that. So it's a very rambunctious energy, but it could be fun, especially if you are outgoing. You're pulling in an extrovert. Okay, so now looking at single and happy. If you're not focusing on relationships, what's going on here? Self-care, and it's probably good that you're not focusing on a relationship right now. So you should heal your mind, body, and spirit. The 10 of Swords is one of the, literally on this one, we can see it's pretty graphic and in your face, but it's mostly just there for effect. So sometimes we have to have the straw that breaks the camel's back so that we can let go and kind of lean into something. So that is a big part of why I'm moving. For those that have followed me more than just a year or so, you know that this is twice in 3 years that I've had the exact same thing happen. So I paused and thought, I'm not rebuilding again, not here. If I'm going to do it, I'm really going to do it differently this time and try something unique. And I, on some levels, thought I should have done this maybe 2 years ago so this time I thought, I don't want to live my life with potential regrets. So if I want to try something, let's try it. Let's do it. If it doesn't work, okay. I'll never look back in life review and think, what about that? And what I understand now is this is a fear of failure. Or it can also be health-related things. So one thing that I didn't know at the time is probably when I was planning to go, that's when the throes of my sinus infection was happening and everything. So I needed time to heal. So for you may be in the throes of what I was going through, which is pain in your body, pain in your mind, pain in your heart. So this is why you're not looking at relationships right now. You're focusing on, what do I need to feel healed and satiated and supported? And sometimes you have to go through the pain, and then when you're on the other side, the clarity will come. There's always the dawn of a new day. You can barely see it on this card, but in the traditional one, which I'll pull up here in a second, there's always a new day that is starting to break. So whatever it was that you just went through, and it could be really gnarly, really difficult, sweetness follows. Something beautiful awaits. And here's the new dawn breaking behind this person. So the best is yet to come. And you should never fear failure. You should just learn from it and try to use your previous experiences, like we saw with that Three of Swords, which I think I might still have here, to make better choices in the future. This is an educated, challenging situation that you learn from, and you don't have to fear this. If you've already been through it, it doesn't have to repeat. Ten of Swords is a valuable card. It gets overlooked, but sometimes the pressure point, you need to get sick and tired. Literally or figuratively? I would rather it be figuratively, but if you don't take the energetic cue, then it happens literally. And the sick and tired then forces you to prioritize self over all the other things that we've been talking about today. Okay? Good. And it's okay to feel sad. This isn't the most fun card. But in this full moon, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to laugh, laugh. If you need to scream, find a pillow and do so without bothering your neighbors or friends. But let it out. And this will pass. But pain and grief need to be felt and released. A good cry releases endorphins. You will feel better afterwards. So if you need to get it out, get it out. Let's actually look at, we'll look at that in a moment. Well, no, we'll look at it now. We'll look at destiny because we're in the flow today. So if you're feeling pain, because it has to do with the heart, it has to do with love, how can you move beyond the pain? So we have the Six of Pentacles here, which really has to do with choices. And so we have in the background these dice, and this is about a calculated risk. Sometimes we have to throw the dice and say, I feel like this is the best choice. I've weighed the options, because the Six of Pentacles is usually scales. We don't see it here, but usually there's scales, and you're like, I tried this, I tried that, I think about that. Okay, this is the best thing based on what I know. So you might just need to trust your instincts and take that calculated leap. The outstretched hands here are interesting too, because for many of you, when it comes to getting through a painful situation, I'd love for you to think about what you're getting out of the exchange. Like, when I spend time doing this, I feel this. When I put time and energy in here, I get this. It isn't just transactional. It's helping you make better choices so that there's balance. Making room for more things in your life. Joy, relationships, exercise, food, rest. Not just go, go, go. Listening to the advice of trusted people in your life, but weighing it all out against your own heart, against your own intuition, against your own gut. And those are touching different areas of intuition. So the gut is kind of like a primal energy, solar plexus. And so it's about power and safety and control. It's kind of like the primal part of the brain. We just know certain things. You're feeling it, in your bones. The heart, empathy. You're feeling what others are feeling with that. The third eye, you're seeing beyond the heart and the gut. There's different, and then when you open up your crown chakra, the seventh, you're seeing beyond the beyond. You're getting additional insights, different timelines. So in this moment, look beyond it's really looking beyond the moment. It's something that I talk about all the time, using those techniques, but knowing that sometimes when we're feeling it in our body, it's more of fight or flight. It's more of, I'm scared, I must do this, I must hold on, I must protect. 4 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, 10 of Swords. You're trying to process things. But once you get out of the processing in the body, the 3D, then you can start to see other options and possibilities. Create better balance in your life is the takeaway, the TLDR of all of that. All right, now let's look and see destiny. This was fun. For those that say, I miss it when you do the expanded, we just really expanded the expanded today and went further than I would if I just broke it down into all the traditional stuff, because I'm trying to experiment and try new things. Okay. For those that have asked, I'm going to pause for a second. So all of the signs will be done this week. I'm moving today. I'm literally taking down everything, putting it in a car, and I'm going to a hotel tomorrow. So the signs will come out this week. All of June is coming out this week because I have been moving and doing paperwork to also move in 6 weeks. So I'm moving in 24 hours and I'm moving in 6 weeks. Please be patient. And all the signs will come out when they need to, and they're going to be different. And then we'll have more frequency. But it's a lot, folks. I'm dealing with a lot and I'm showing up the best that I can. So they're not on time and I apologize. But they will come out and you won't just get a mid-month check-in this month. But they're going to be different. They're going to be shorter. They're going to be this week. Please be patient. And if I can get a bunch done, I'll put them on timed releases so you know exactly when to see them. And that might help too. I just wanted to address that real quick because I see a question. And it's a good question. So thank you for that. All right, Destiny. Let's take a look. And I think you were asking about the sign of Virgo for for my monthlies. But otherwise, the element's already been done. So I just wanted to address both. Okay, we have a lot of synchronicity here. So all that I talked about, Five of Swords. I think it's so important to remove emotion from the equation when it comes to these difficult conversations. And some of you are going to have them with someone. We can't always avoid them. A case in point is when you have a job at a traditional office, working with people that drive you a little bit off the rails. You have to manage these sort of interactions and the frequency of communication. One thing that I did towards the end of my last job was to make it clear that I really didn't want to receive texts after a certain point, particularly on the weekend, unless it was an emergency. If it's an emergency, call me. I'll be there. I'll go to the office. I'll drop anything. But if you're just texting me or emailing me for nothing, at the time I was helping my mom take care of my dad, and I didn't have, I have other things outside of the office that are important. Let me have that time for myself. So you can set a boundary. It may hurt you. It did hurt me professionally, but I didn't care because I was 6 to 8 months away from quitting at that point. But I was like, I don't have the time for that extra agitation because I'll lose my patience if it's not important, if it's something that could have waited until the next day. So don't text me, but you can email me, but I won't answer until I get into the office. And then don't expect me to email. If you're emailing someone at midnight and it's not an emergency, don't bother them first thing in the morning. So you can create these boundaries. You can say, well, I just got in. I'll be happy to take a look at it. Why don't you circle back in an hour? So remind people that you just started or you don't have to do that. And if you're at a place where that's expected, either assess if you can deal with it or find something else if you can't, because that's what I had to do at the end of the day. I'm like, this is just how this works. I can't fight a system that is the size of the universe. It was a big company. And I'm like, this is just how it is. I've outgrown it. So I don't care anymore. I spent 15 years trying to climb a ladder. And then when I got to the top, I didn't like the view. And I'm like, I think I want to climb a different ladder and do something else. So you're allowed to not like the view when you see someone or something. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. That's a really beautiful metaphor. You can climb the ladder, but when you get there, you're like, is this what okay, I'm going to go over here instead. I'm going to try some of that. I'm going to try some of this instead. There's other views. There's more than one way to get somewhere. And if you don't like the people around you or the treatment that you're receiving, then you don't have to continue. You don't have to stop immediately, but at some point you want to get off. What are those things that it's like it's not an escalator, it's not an elevator, it's one of those things that just goes straight like in an airport. You have to eventually get off of that and do the walking and do the steering yourself because they only take you so far too. So yeah, it feels like you're just getting off of that. And you're starting to drive in a different direction. And I don't think it's worth the energy of dealing with certain people that either don't respect, see, or appreciate you. So we're getting a deeper message here around relationships. I actually love this reading today. Wasn't this fun? Because look at all the different messages that are coming through. This is what I'm trying to do with the monthlies, by the way, is to just, it's not like I'm ditching the format, but like really making sure that we're not Four of Cupsing it, where it's like we need to sometimes just push a little bit. And there are elements that I like looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny, but I could do it in a radically different way. I could do what we did today and just look at that and expand it and look at a bigger thing at the beginning. So I feel like conveyor belt, thank you so much. That was the perfect word. We have to get off the conveyor belt of life and just sort of allow ourselves to walk where we want to walk. Okay? Okay. We made thank you guys. We made the extra piece here, the 30, the goal. I've been talking so much. I'm like, what are my words? What am I trying to say? So I'm going to throw up an option for you to put some things into the chat here. And I'm going to also put a poll up. We haven't done a poll in a bazillion years. So let's do a poll and I'll give you a chance to vote for something. So let me see. Let me go back to some of the topics and see if there was anything that we missed. I think we did a good job of looking at all of this, but we had the cocoon, okay? Better balance. I feel like we did balance and chakra. So why don't I put as an option, we could look at cocoon, and let me see what else wants to come through. So cocoon, how to create a breakthrough. And then let's see, what else are some of you dealing with? How about manifesting? Well, I feel like that actually is both. Like, I'm going to change the cocoon to manifest a breakthrough. And let's see what some of you might also be dealing with. Oh, attracting opportunity / wealth. I feel like we could all deal with that right now. And maybe a third. What I just did, learning to let go, find calm. Okay, so vote for your favorite. And let's meditate. And you can vote and then meditate. And then I will come back after the meditation and we'll look at this. We're changing things up because we can. So, and I still may do a final, but let's just go ahead and meditate first. Go ahead and vote while we're doing this, then close your eyes. All right, for a moment here, I really want to help us stay grounded and release whatever needs to be released, because this is a full moon, and I'm glad that we got to do something different for the full moon. So imagine that you're basking in the silver light of the full moon. You feel its radiance around you. The light of the full moon sometimes is cooler, though, because it can be nighttime. So imagine that you can hear the sounds of crickets or birds or tree frogs, whatever might be in your part of the world at nighttime. And you have a really cool, crisp night air that's kind of gathering around you, maybe some fog in the distance. But the full moon is unobstructed in the sky above, creating a disk of silver light around you. And it's a gentle, reflective, soft energy. Be soft with yourself right now. See yourself in this beautiful soft light, which makes you look amazing, which you are. But I'd love for you to kind of imagine that you could step back and see strength, radiance, and resilience. Plant your feet on the ground and feel connected to Mother Earth as well. And in this moment, if you're lacking support from family, friends, or love interests, know that Mother Earth, a divine feminine and supportive energy that's with us every single day of our lives, is here. She doesn't get a lot of love back, but she's always giving to us. So why not open up your heart and connect to the planet for a second and say thank you for allowing me to be here. This is like your first mother. We forget that. But say thanks to the first mother, Mother Earth, and feel a sense of support, nurturing, and that maybe for the first time in a long time, you are seen, you are supported. She's lifting you up. Look at another divine feminine energy, the moon, who is showing you a different side of yourself, a softer side, a different light. And if you need to cry or sigh or just sleep or whatever you need to do, just let it happen. Be gentle, be present, and we're going to take a few deep breaths, pulling the energy from both sources, the light above and the support and the grounding energy beneath. Receiving both at the nexus point in your heart. Sending what you don't need to both energies. Release the pain, release the discomfort, release the fear. Open your heart, open your mind, and feel a sense of being free. All right. On your own, when you feel safe, supported, and ready, open your eyes. And attracting opportunities made the top spot here. So thank you to everybody that voted in the live stream here. All right. So attracting an opportunity. What can you do right now to make sure that you're attracting a little bit more? So I love Temperance as a sort of indicator card because what it's saying is just get started. This almost looks like Hermes or Mercury because we see the winged sandals. It's a different take. Normally it's an angel, but I'll take a god. It's all half a dozen of one, six of the other. So Hermes or Mercury is dipping their foot into the pool of possibilities. We see Crocus on the side. This is the first sign of life in certain hemispheres anyway in the springtime. Crocus can even come up in the snow. So no matter how, figuratively speaking, long the winter has been, the winter between you being able to find love or find work or have money, we see a breaking through point. It will start subtly, but then just like once the crocus appears, we see the melt off of the springs and things start to flow. So you're asking me to look at helping you attract opportunity, and I'm seeing something percolate this week, and it starts slow, but it won't stay slow. So embrace that, nurture that little crocus energy, and say, okay, I'm going to keep feeding that so that more can come through. Because we're looking at the God of communication, test the waters. See if someone is available or interested in talking about something, an opportunity, for instance. See if you could get someone to talk to someone. See if you can get someone to see if someone else is interested. We're testing the waters without throwing ourselves head first. You can also float an idea out there. Hey, what do you think about this? You're not saying, I want this or I stand by this. You're putting it out as a question first to test. You could talk to a few people. Have you heard about this? What do you think? How do you feel? Then you can make a statement after you've tested the waters. He's got a healing symbol right there as his brace. So you can heal your connection to abundance, money, worth, etc. simply by believing that you can. That is a big part of healing. And one of the blessings of all the challenges that I went through last year was a reconnection to the ability to connect to source. So I once did a Reiki attunement, but this is different. Like I can connect to chi energy. And so sometimes I just need to pull that into certain parts of my body where I'm feeling pain. You can also put it into certain parts of your life. But what I understand, the way that it works sometimes is just that I trust that it will work and I direct where I need it to go. And when it comes to manifesting or being creative or breathing life into something, it's very much the same trusting energy. Because if you think it through, if you think too much, you get in the way of it. This is very true of real life examples. If you've ever watched musicians in a jam session, they just go with it. they fumble. Sometimes they make up words. Blah, 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 blah. They'll just kind of sing along with it and then insert the lyrics later. And it can be kind of nonsensical. Sometimes they keep the nonsense lyrics or whatever, but it doesn't always have to make sense to come together. So allow yourself in this process to be a little messy, a little loose, a little creative, because you'll actually then start to see all the puzzle pieces align. There's usually a path behind the Temperance Angel, and so it feels like it's a little early for it to be revealed to you. Spirit wants to see, can you just keep your mind open to receiving this? Are you okay with it being a little messy in the beginning? And then, yeah, someone mentioned jazz. That's a great example. And then can you improvise, because that's actually what jazz is all about, and go with it? Okay? Yeah, today's messages are like super deep. It's probably because I was up late packing last night. And I remember one of my teachers, when I first started learning, they're like, sometimes when you are just, like, again, when you don't get in the way too much, Spirit will come through even clearer. So sometimes if I'm a little tired, or if I just know that I need to show up, I can just show up, because like 50% of me being here today is just energy, is pranic energy. I had to pull at a different source. I'm like, help me out. I got a lot going on. I need to be here for everybody today. And that's how I'm here today. Okay, so let me look back at the way that this was stated, because I want to make sure that, because there were two pieces to it, and I'm going to pull two cards for the two pieces. Opportunity and wealth. Okay. Opportunity, wealth. Okay. So for opportunity, speaking it into existence is important. So in existing systems, you would want to speak up. I would like this. How do I get this? Sign me up. You might also literally look for a way to do it and just do it. Actions and words, and both. Passive energy this week, because I'm looking at the next week, isn't flying. So if there's something that you need or want, that's how you're going to open up that. And again, I got to keep looking at the two, opportunity. So for the opportunity, you call it into existence, you reach for it, you make it happen. So that's that. This can also be creating it yourself. Like I said, I don't expect that everybody can do it, because sometimes you need resources. Not everyone has the same resources, including extra time to do it. But if you do, maybe do that. You can also ask for the resources. So because we know that not everyone has the privilege of time, energy, and money, sometimes you get a grant, sometimes you get a loan, sometimes you get support. So if you don't have the privilege of having it, you might find the possibility through that kind of thing, requesting it, a requisition, which kind of goes back to speaking it into existence. You can either say, I want this, I need this, or can I have this? All equally powerful this week. It's interesting that we have what looks like almost like a dire wolf in the foreground. I do feel like there could be some competition, and this might be something where the first person or the loudest person gets the most attention, which is why this week I'm encouraging you to use your voice, okay? When it comes to wealth, which was the second part of this, the Seven of Cups is a little confused. I'm going to pull the traditional one here because I feel like it's better at illustrating the point. If you don't understand something, ask. This is so important. It doesn't matter if you're starting out, if you're mid-career, if you're retired, but like if you don't understand how something works, how much do you match? How much do I get? When can I get this? Like, ask the questions. Or how much risk is involved with me doing this? Ask. That's because this card, when reversed, can represent confusion. It can also show that you're so distracted that you're letting something slide. So take a look at expenditures. Is this what it's like cracked up to be, or is this not worth my time and energy? Someone may be counting on the fact that you're not paying attention. A charge on the credit card bill that shouldn't be there. A recurring payment that you're making for something that you're not watching or using, like a streaming service. Audit, clear, and ask. That's kind of what I'm getting for this. Now, the other and the more fun part of this is dreaming. There are two dreamy cards that I'm thinking of right off the bat here, which is Two of Wands. That is so much more grounded though, and it's like, I'm ready for this. I want to plan this. I can see how it's coming. This is white or black boarding. It depends on what the color is that you're doing it, but blue sky energy, because the predominant energy around the person is blue. They're even kind of shaded blue. So expansive. And allowing each of those ideas just to kind of sit somewhere. So we used to, once upon a time, I don't think we really do it anymore, but like when there were whiteboards at work or chalkboards, blackboards, you would put it up there, you would brainstorm. Nowadays, you're probably going to do it on a screen using some sort of app that probably has an AI tracker, et cetera, et cetera. So however you're brainstorming, brainstorm. But then create a boundary. I'm going to spend X amount of time doing this, and then we'll come back to this tomorrow. There's no bad ideas. You can always take a kernel, unless someone is going forever in one direction, but like the kernel of each idea should be captured. And then you can come back and maybe make sense of it later. So no bad ideas, capture them all, walk away, put a time limit on the brainstorming. Otherwise, it just starts, then it's just a storm and it's a mess. An hour is a great amount of time to do that, unless you're in a really great discussion. Now, when I was talking about, even with bands, there'll be a jam session, you record what you can, then you might come back the next day and have additional insights. You have to stop at some point and leave it, and then come back, okay? But that will help you come up with something, and it may be parts. Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, put it together, stronger idea. And that can help you manifest something, okay? Yeah, digital whiteboards, I guess they have them. They were just starting, they were not perfected when I left corporate. I left in about 2015. That seems so long ago, doesn't it now? 11 years. We've made a lot of advances in technology in 11 years. And I remember at the time there were some that you could just start to actually sketch on, and that seemed like it was a big thing. So anyway, here's to all of the advances, for better and for worse, when it comes to our ability to collaborate. This is one of the better connections. I'm so glad that we can live stream. That really wasn't something that was done in 2015 as much. So, okay. So I think we're at a close for today. But before I do that, just some like housekeeping. But first, since some people will drop off, if you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter in case there's any important announcements, and there may be in the next couple of months. Subscribe to the channel and share it with other people. I've made some format changes. I know not everybody loves it, but I think a lot of people do, and maybe you can help me find more people that do. So thank you. You can also join me on social media. All of the links to my official sort of like social handles are on my website. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, but when in doubt, go here. From there, you can also give back with PayPal. You can book a reading if you'd like. And right here, right now, if you'd like to, you can give back, and I will say thank you in just a moment. Okay, so as I said, I'm waiting for the exact date that I'll be moving, but it's probably about a month and a half. And I may even vlog some of it as I'm going. This is a big deal. And it might be fun to show like a slice of life as I do this journey. Why am I doing it? Because 2 times in 3 years, I've had an HVAC, like an air conditioning unit, create mold and cause health problems and destroy my stuff. And I'm like, I think I'm done with it. And the fact that I have to walk away from my furniture this time, I'm like, then I don't have a lot that I have to ship. This is the time to do it. So I'm going to Spain. I did all the work last year to make that happen, but I put pause on it for like a year. So Apollo will be coming with me. The work will continue. They have the internet in Spain. The only thing that might actually be beneficial is the timeliness. I'll be in the CET zone, so my readings will probably be more, well, we'll keep this time for the weekly collectives probably, because I've been doing it for a long time. But my posting schedule for the dailies is probably going to align better for Europe and be very early for the US, which everyone's going to benefit. So that's probably going to be good. And then I might do some special readings that are more attuned to like that time zone too, like if I do live streams. So I think it's going to be a net positive, and I'm excited for what's coming through. Okay, so yeah, I'm not apologizing. I was just kind of like saying it's time for a change. We can do a final card. I saw that I didn't do that. I feel like today was so special, we almost didn't need a final card, but let's do a final card. So final question, final card. One thing that you have on your mind, go ahead and let's take a look at it. So if you asked a yes or no, yes, but you're going to have to find it within yourself right now to take care of yourself and push to the finish line. The other thing with this is like the taking care of yourself. This is definitely like worse for the wear. Usually the Nine of Wands doesn't show someone that's been so embattled. It's usually just around the forehead, but it's your mind. Your mind is feeling this sense of, oh my gosh, I have to do this, 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 and this. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as you might feel like it is. So imagine that it could be even easier than you are anticipating, okay? Don't stop. Don't give up. You're very close to the finish line, okay? All right. And yeah, this is a big deal. I mean, I think going back to my life move, I think because it's been so challenging, I'm really ready for a shift. And this time there's no fear. And it's also fiscally going to be, aside from, yes, there's more taxes, but the price of living is better. Insurance, rent, food, groceries, healthcare. After I start paying into the system, I'll have private, but even private's only 1/10 the cost of my actual healthcare. So I feel like I can get on my feet, and I need something like that. And I love Spain, and I'm getting better with Spanish, and I feel like this is going to be a very great adventure, and we'll see where it takes me. And if I like it, great. If I don't, I tried it. So you have to live life and take chances sometimes. So more to come on that. All right, let's take a couple moments here to extend some gratitude for everybody that gave back today. And more to come on the channel as I kind of, like I said, get closer to that. Okay, so fan funding. Let's see what's going on here. And let me see if I have any. I think I gifted everything for this month, but if I didn't, yeah, I did. Okay, so the next time I do it next weekend, we'll do more. Okay. Here we go. Starting things off today, once in a blue moon. Thank you so much, Jamie. Good to see you, Jamie McCormick. Thanks for being a member and for the sticker. Ann Walk, thank you so much for your membership. I meant to say also, Jamie, thanks for being a member and for the sticker. Colette, thank you so much for being a member and for the sticker. Claude, thank you very much for the sticker. Same thing to, let's see, is it Denise? Thank you for the sticker and membership. Colette, thank you again. Multiple contributions today. I appreciate it. Let me just heart all of these while I'm doing it. Let's see. Marie, thank you so much for your sticker. Blues Capolite, I think it is. Blue, thank you so much for your sticker and for being a member. And Marie, thank you for your sticker and for being a member. I appreciate that. S. Lynn, thank you so much for sending 5 memberships to new people, and welcome to everyone that received one. Melanie, thank you very much for your sticker, and thanks for the love. Teresa, thank you for the love and support. Colette, thank you for the multiple stickers, and again for the membership. I need a drink. As always, PJ, thank you for the multiple stickers and the membership and helping us make that goal today. Renee, thank you for your sticker and membership. I appreciate you. Let's see. Is it Sana? Thank you so much for being a member for 16 months, for all of your support, and for being here today. PJ, thanks again. Esselyn, thank you for 39 months. What? Get out of town. And also for gifting today. I appreciate that. That's a long-time membership. Wouldn't be here without you. I appreciate it. Okay, Shelly, thank you so much for your sticker and membership. PJ, thanks again. And thanks for so many contributions. I see the #1 contributor badge there. Colette, thank you again. Multiple contributions and membership. Much appreciated. I'm glad that you're ready for healing today, Anne. That was the choice, and it was, I think, perfect for what we did. Alice, thank you so much for the sticker and membership. Again, PJ, thanks for the multiple stickers and membership. Handangul, thank you very much. Taksamika for your sticker and membership. PJ, thanks again. Colette, thank you again. Colette and PJ deserve a big hug here for all of the multiple stickers. I appreciate that. Sharon, thanks for the sticker and membership. Iced Shaken Espresso, it sounds good right now. Thank you so much for being a new member and for your your assistance today with the sticker. Colette, thank you again. Lillian, thank you for the sticker and membership. PJ, thank you again. Butterfly, thank you so much for the sticker and membership. I'm glad you thought that this was insightful today. This is created by ... It cut it off, but thank you, created by, for being here today as well. PJ, thank you for the sticker and membership. Again, I appreciate it. Georgia, thank you so much for your sticker and membership. And Walk, thank you again for both, for the multiple contributions today. Lorna, thank you for 55 months. There's so many little points on that. Thank you so much for being around for a long, long time, for the ups and downs and in-betweens. PJ Good, thank you so much for your sticker and membership again. Lawrence, I think it is. Thank you so much for your sticker and membership. Yolanda, thanks for the sticker. Phoebe, thank you. Good to see you, my friend. 35 months. Glad to have you back, actually. And thank you also for not just celebrating it, but also giving the sticker too. Jeannie, thank you so much you've been here a long time. I can tell with that little gem in the center. So that's probably over 50 or 60 months. But thank you for your sticker and for your membership. K Michelle, I think it is, or K Mitch. Thank you very much for becoming a member or renewing it, because I see the little wand. Mary Jones, thank you for the sticker and membership. S. Colin, thanks for your sticker. Heather W., thank you for gifting a membership. You're very kind. PJ, thank you for the multiple contributions and for gifting a membership and for being a member. And my little Margie, thank you for 56 months. Wow. And yeah, this is an exciting time. You know, it's so interesting whenever we do these sort of leaps of faith, you can plan until the cows come home, and then sometimes you just have to go for it. Little Apollo resting there in the background. Also, he's getting older, so I realized that this would probably be one of the last moments that I could do it with him and have it be an okay journey for him. So that was also factoring into it. But I do think that it'll be a nice reset. It'll be a chance for me to get on my feet after a lot of, that's the other thing. I'm going to be looking at furnished places there, but after you've lost your furniture twice, you can't really replace it. So I needed to find a way to live life less complicated, less cluttered, and to be able to support myself. And it's getting expensive for all of us, myself included, in America. So I was like, I think I need to shift for a little bit, and we'll see what this brings. But thank you guys so much. I'll keep you posted on the next journey. Oh, by the way, Claudia, I see you gifted here too. Thank you. I need to stop now because my voice is tired and I was up too late packing. So one last drink of water and then we're going to wrap up. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic week ahead. As soon as I'm settled into the hotel tomorrow, I'll start cranking out the monthly videos. But between now and then, I'm trying to pace myself and take care of myself. So I appreciate you. Take care and have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.